Is up, has the accuracy, and it is good. Jake Bates throwing right side, and it's going to be intercepted. Return past the 15, past the 20, out past the 30. Has space down the sideline. 40, 35, 30, and he is gone. A pick six for Houston. Snap good, hold good, kick up, and it is straight down the middle. Looking to throw, rolls out right. Throws end zone. Touchdown San Antonio. Cody Latimer alone in the end zone. They take a 1-point lead with 3 seconds left. 52-yarder, left hash for the win. Snap good, hold good, kick up, and it's drilled. Miami escapes week 1 with the win. Jason Sanders is looking to throw. Pass right side, wide open. Touchdown Drake London. Touchdown Drake London. Atlanta has tied this game and are an extra point away from taking the lead. Needing the 12-yard line. Handoff, Robinson left side. And going to be stuffed. A loss of 4, maybe 5 on the play. And with 50 seconds to go, the Chiefs have the ball. And most likely that does it. Ball on the 17.5-yard line. Looking to throw. Stepping up, throwing for the end zone. And caught. Touchdown Green Bay. Dontavian Wicks. 56 seconds to play. The Packers are within 3. 6:17 to play in overtime. Tua shotgun, back to his left. 3 receivers to the right, bunched up. Tua to throw. Pass time. Plenty of time. Pass. End zone, left side. Jonnu Smith. Touchdown Miami. They're gonna win. Let's go, baby. Here, back behind him. 3 receiving options to the left. Gonna send Smith in motion. Toss left side for Saquon Barkley. Good blocking and room to run. Pass midfield. Spinning his way. Pass the 35 to 30. 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, and the Eagles respond instantly. Saquon Barkley. Oh my. Making his presence felt. 1 play, 60 yards. 3rd and 9 from the 35. Mahomes looking to throw. Quick pass left side. Caught by Piron. Has room to run. First down and more. Down to about the 17. And he stays in bounds. That will do it. The Kansas City Chiefs have escaped the Bills and have punched their ticket. Hello, and welcome. Week 6 of the UFL season. We are here. We're in a different location that hopefully will have more consistent internet connection, as that was an issue we faced for the first half of the season. In the second half of the season, we're changing it up just so that way, again, more consistent connection, hopefully, and some smoother streams, as well as it all will be just on my PC, whereas in the final half of that first half of the season, I had to have a separate laptop and everything. But now we're here, we should be chilling, as week 6 kicks off with a fantastic one. The Arlington Renegades traveled to St. Louis in what very easily could be a dogfight of a game, but could also very easily be a defensive slugfest or a shootout. This can be a pretty damn good one. Hakeem Butler's second game back after the injuries. His first game back last week, he had 2 big touchdowns late in that game. And Max Duggan played surprisingly well. Arlington coming off of their loss to DC the week prior, even with Luis Perez playing well. That defense really stalled out in the second half alongside the offense. So looking to bounce back and what's going to be a pretty damn good game as well. And yeah, this is the lighting setup we have behind me as well, just because it works best with this camera. But yeah, we're here. We are here. So how is everyone doing? Again, playoff games are also starting right now. In, I believe, the NHL, I believe Blues Winnipeg is starting. But sadly, I don't believe I'm going to be able to have a quad box with that game. But it's what is it, game 6 tonight? Right? So I believe it's Game 6 tonight for Jets and Blues, which means that game's in St. Louis. Yeah, the game's in St. Louis as well, and these games are in the exact same time. So it might be a sparsely filled up Dome in America's Center tonight, but nonetheless, this Dome is still going to be rocking, hopefully. A battle for second place in the XFL conference. Winner gets a head start in trying to make the XFL conference playoff game. Arlington is 1-0 in this series matchup, so St. Louis looking to get their get back. We shall see. This is gonna be a really solid showing. And that actually does remind me, since I can't get a quad box, let me just pull up it over here. I have multiple monitors in the setup for a reason. There we go. There we go. So yes, now I'm going to be able to keep an eye on that. Hello, I'm doing good. How about you? Again, it's my spring semester just ended, so I'm in a different location for the rest of the UFL season. Will lead to better connections, and it gives me a little bit more space. If this game is close late into the fourth, you'll see another addition that this setup allows me to use. But yeah, it's nice. My summer break's starting up, so I'm feeling good. Had a little bit of stress with some of those finals, but I passed them all, so we're chilling. Okay, we're just waiting for the start in this one. Yeah. It'll be during the predictions video, I showed off I'm hoping this game is close late in the fourth, because I would like to utilize that other idea for this setup, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm probably gonna record through that from now on for the rest of the season at least. I'll be standing, just a little bit easier that way. Not easier, but I feel like it flows a little bit better. Plus, I gotta show off the top end of this setup in the background, which is great. I mean, yeah, like last week had a lot of great games. The only one that wasn't up to snuff was Houston San Antonio. This one though, man, like this Arlington St. Louis really has the chance to be game of the year potentially. I mean, it's gonna be tough to top Memphis Birmingham last week. I feel like that's the I'm not gonna say the standard, but I feel like that's the top mark for games this season, as that was a great overtime matchup. But we shall see. DC Arlington last week as well, though. Like that was also a great game. Yeah, I wish I was able to do more of the games last week, but I had stuff come up. But again, I'm doing all the games this week, so making up for it, doing all 4 this week. Then there's a special video coming out next weekend to make up for not being able to go live with any of those games. Yeah, I typically, like, during the NFL season, I like making sure I do at least the Dolphin game every single week. Just so that way, like, I can say I went live. But in the UFL, like, typically I'm able to do all 4. Just that. Again, April was... There's a few weeks in April kind of like had shit going on, but after next week, we're going to be all set to do every single game from there on out, which is going to be fun. But yeah, as Arlington is set to get the ball first in this one, time for me to play a risky game with Fox and how loud it can make this TV. Alright, that seems good. Yeah. Yeah. Next week is like the last week where stuff's really gonna get in the way. So all 4 this week, missing next week, then week 8 onwards, doing all of them. And again, it's been fun. Like this season, although again, so this season started off not as the closest of games, but again, it's really ramped up perfectly. Oh yeah, the dome is still filled pretty well, all things considered. Considering that again, the Blues have a very important game tonight against Winnipeg in the NHL. As kickoff is underway, week 6 of the UFL season has begun. This will be returned beginning from the 3-yard line and work his way past the 25, past the 30 to about the 32. And we'll start from there. That's Kalen Balaj on the return. Out comes the Spring King, Luis Perez. He played really well in the losing effort last week. So we shall see how he does in this one. The St. Louis defense, little bit easier to go against compared to DC's, but still not an easy one compared to the entire league. So going to need to have a pretty damn good showing today out of this offense if they're going to keep up with St. Louis. Hey, what's up? Welcome on in. So on the 32, Luis and shotgun back to his right, and a motion receiver left to right. That's Isaiah Winstead. As Perez is going to hand this off up the middle. And that's a gain of 3 for Day Hunter. And that's how we're starting shit off today. Okay. So now 2nd and 7. Perez and shotgun back to his right. 3 receivers to the right as well. 35.5-ish yard line here for Arlington. He's making adjustments at the line. Perez is just under 1,000 passing yards on the season as he looks to throw here. Pressure coming past left side. That's caught by Sal Cannella and going to work his way to about the 40. Will depend on the spot, but forward progress is definitely stopped at around the 40, maybe 41. And it'll be a 3rd and short coming up for Arlington. And definitely that does put Perez over the 1,000-yard mark passing on the season. 2nd in the UFL, just behind Jordan Teambu in passing yards, and his 71% completion is also 2nd in the league somehow. As before this 3rd and 1 play, there is a penalty pre-snap for movement up front. Who are they saying moved first? It's a 3rd and 1, so this could be. Oh yeah, the same neutral zone infraction. Penalty on St. Louis, an automatic first down for Arlington. Being able to hard count like that on the road is nice. Yeah. So yeah, that was Chris Garrett. They got to jump early. It's 1st and 10. As Perez in shotgun back to his right. 2 receivers to each side. Ball now on the 46. After the neutral zone infraction. Perez going to look to throw. Quick pass left side. That's caught and going to be a gain of 9 for Deontay Burnett. Up to the plus 45-yard line. All right. Yeah, it's a good quick slant. Yeah, his place kind of high, but it kind of had to be high. That was good. There was good coverage there. If it was placed over the middle. Handoff on 2nd and 1, going to be Day Hunter trying to find some room, but unable to, as Pita Tamupenu gets him for about no gain on the play. This will be 3rd and 1. Had some time, but no lanes opened up, though. Maybe he could have bounced it out to the right, but again, not much really you can do from there. So another big 3rd and 1. Perez under center. Back up behind him. 2 receiving options to each side. You need about 3/4 of a yard to pick up the first. Play clock winds down. Gonna QB sneak with Perez. And that is a gain of roughly 2 to keep the chains alive. A 1st down carry. I mean, yeah, there's good movement up front by the center and left guard to give him that space to just fill in. Oh yeah. Yeah, so but what was it? Yeah, Ricky Lee, the left tackle, bulldoze a Battlehawk in order to create that space. Good shit. Man, it's a solid drive so far. Playing smart with the football, moving it well. Perez play action looking to throw in first and 10. Dump off left side is caught with a penalty marker down, as that's a gain of about 8 for Seth Green on the reception. We'll have to wait to see what this penalty is, but again, Perez is just playing smart with the football right now. That's all you can really ask of him in this game. Oh, it's a legal shift on Arlington. Gonna push him back 5 and replay first. Yeah, you can't get caught behind the sticks too often against St. Louis. That's not a great penalty to take. But with the whole keeping it simple approach that they've been having so far this drive, you probably could get away with it. Yeah. That's one of the key things with Perez and the way that this Arlington offense has improved from last year is they've focusing a lot more on getting the ball out quick and just taking what the defense is giving them because they have the playmakers to be able to build off of that. As the handoff up the middle for Kalen Ballage will get those yards back on the penalty, and then some. A pickup of roughly 10 for Ballage to make it a much more manageable second down. It's like they keep the simple stuff on offense, staying ahead of the sticks, and then when you have a running like the running game has been the biggest improvement compared to last year. Ballage is running well. Still, weirdly enough, I do still kind of miss him on the Dolphins, although I do like our running back room as it sits. But like during that era that he was in Miami, he was a big factor, and it was fun to watch him in the NFL, and it's been fun to watch him here in the UFL. Gonna give it to him one more time on 2nd and 4 as he bulldozes his way for a gain of 3. Met instantly at the line, but it's gonna take a lot more than a single Battlehawk to bring him down. Another 3rd and 1 here for Arlington. Perez under center. No, this Holton Ayler's under center. They're going T formation here. As they're going to hand this off to Day Hunter right side, and he's going to get a 1.5 yards, just enough for the first down marker. They went T form with all 3 backs in the backfield on that one. Typically they go typically when Arlington runs T form, they go Ballage and the Devion Smith plus Canella in the backfield, but they went all 3 running backs and it worked. As now Perez back in after the 3rd and 1 was converted. Perez will be in shotgun, back behind him, 2 receiving options to each side. Ball on the plus 32-yard line. Play clock winding down, and I think I said they get that snap off in time. Perez going to throw it right side after the play action, and it's going to be caught for no gain by Seth Green. Yeah, it's a slight different there, but I guess it's a way to try and... Because by having all 3 backs in lineup in the T form, it makes it so it gives you a potential option to run it up the middle. And again, trying to continue to just confuse St. Louis's defense as the penalty marker was offsides there on St. Louis with 1st and 5 coming up. Yeah, it's great. When you have formations that work, like Arlington with the T formation this year, if you can add wrinkles to it, it can work wonders. This has been a great opening drive for Arlington. Perez in shotgun, back behind him. 2 receiving options to each side. Ball now on the 27 due to the offsides. Perez going to hand this off up the middle, and that's a loss of a yard for Ballage. A duo of Battlehawks meet him in the backfield. Yep, have to be able to keep the defense guessing. And really, like, again, Arlington has been one of the better teams at doing that this season. So 8.5 to play in the first. Perez and shotgun back behind him. It has been a very run-heavy drive for the Renegades. A 2nd and 6 is going to be another handoff, but there is a penalty pre-snap. We'll see what this is. They're going to say false start on Arlington. Falling behind the sticks. Called that on Marcus Minor, the left guard there. And that's the 13th false start against Arlington this season. Yeah. I mean, as long as you play, you're in field goal range still. You just don't need to force the ball right now. But Perez is going to be alone in shotgun. 3 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. Ball on the 33-yard line as Perez will look to throw. Quick pass over the middle is caught by Canella, and they get those 5 yards right back, basically. Going to be a gain of roughly 6, maybe 7-ish, up to the 26-yard line. So yeah, 3rd and 4 coming up. Arlington's doing a great job at playing the sticks and just keeping it to 3rd and shorts. Staying ahead of the chains like this is great. Perez in shotgun, back to his left. 2 receivers to each side looking to throw once again. Throw in right side along the sideline. That's caught for a touchdown. LaJuan Winningham gets in along the sideline. What a throw from Perez. Maybe he could have been stepped out of bounds there for a sec, but... No, yeah, he steps out. He's out of bounds throughout that. And then he's out of bounds, but I don't think he reestablishes. He's the first guy to touch the ball after running out of bounds. And I don't think he reestablishes himself. Oh, they actually... No shot they confirmed this, right? Unless they're saying... No, best... Yeah, he runs out of bounds for a good, 7-8 yards. The question is just, does he reestablish himself? I don't think he does. Yeah, after review, it's going to be a legal touchdown in Arlington. Oh, the Blues score first. Yeah, that was good defense by Chris Payne and Jones to not let him have clean rushing down the sideline. So it's a 4th and 4. Out comes... There we go. 4th and 4. Out comes the field goal unit here. As we have a stoppage before the snap. The kick would have been good straight down the middle for Lucas Haverzik. But again, there is going to be a stoppage here. Oh, wait, no shot Arlington challenges this, right? I guess maybe they thought Arlington called a timeout, but they're saying no timeout was called. So we're going to replay 4th. And a 44-yard kick would have been good. Now we have to re-kick it. All right. So now the 44-yard kick for Lucas Haverzik. Ball is centered pretty well here, I believe. We're still just having a long camera shot here on Haverzik. There we go. Yeah, ball is centered really well for Haverzik here. A 44-yard kick. His long on the season is only 47. That also goes to show how efficient Arlington's offense has been. It's a 44-yard kick. Ball is centered to put Arlington on top. Early in this one, it is up. And he missed it to the left. He missed it wide left. Before the no timeout fiasco, he hit it straight down the middle. He somehow got iced right there with 7 minutes to play in the first quarter. And yeah, the touchdown being brought back due to Whittingham stepping out of bounds and running out of bounds consistently. And then the missed kick after a clock stoppage before. Again, it was a clock stoppage because they believe that Arlington called a timeout when they didn't. So they stopped the clock. So they stopped the play prior. Had him re-kick, but would have been a good kick. And then he missed it wide left. Talk about unfortunate as we head to a commercial break here. And that was only a second miss on the season as well. That's an unfortunate way to miss your second one. Yeah, St. Louis. Yeah. From one St. Louis team to another, the Blues are on the board first against Winnipeg. If the Blues can force a Game 7, that would be great for them. We'll see. We shall see. Yeah, but still a commercial break here. So last week's game plan for St. Louis was about the same as what it was the first 2 weeks of the season. Not throwing the ball too much. Max Duggan felt comfortable using his legs a lot more in that one compared to the game against Arlington 2 weeks ago. He's just not throwing the ball too much. When you do throw the ball, play it safe with it. You have the playmakers to be able to make the plays if you just get them the ball in space. Hakeem Butler being back definitely helped them the week prior against Michigan. Even though he only had two receptions late in that game, his presence on the field just definitely does help out. Yeah, they're showing a different ball spots during the throwing motions for both quarterbacks. Perez being more tight doesn't have as much drop of his arm angle, whereas Duggan really likes going down there. And to be fair, when I played, it also kind of went down there at times. Just from harking back to, typically you see a lot more in baseball players who ended up being quarterbacks. As we're back from commercial break, Duggan in shotgun back to his left, two receiving options to each side. Ball on the 34-yard line. Duggan looking to throw first play of the game. Pass left side, that's Cup. And going to be a gain of about 12. That's Jacor Pearson on the reception. Really solid first play of the game there for St. Louis. And I like the idea of giving Duggan the hot hand. And showing that you're confident in his throwing ability right now. Oh, is that going to be a delay of a game on Winnipeg? Duggan in shotgun going to hand this off up the middle on 1st and 10 from the 45, and that's Jacob Saylor's going to bounce around his way for about 3 on the play. Yeah, St. Louis on the power play now. All right. It's weird because again, the Blues and the St. Louis Blues are also playing right now in Game 6, hoping to starve off elimination a little bit longer, as the Battlehawks are here going against Arlington. So a little double St. Louis action tonight. As Duggan alone in shotgun, 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left, going to look to throw. Pump faking, now rolling to his right to buy some time. Still looking, passing right side, and it's tipped and incomplete. Trying to squeeze that into Blake Jackson, but great coverage there. Nearly resorts in an interception, and that's not what I was talking about during commercial break. It was placed decently well, but you gotta play smarter with the football there. It's too early in the game to be trying to make desperation plays like that. And it bounced off the helmet of Eugene Harris and nearly falls straight into the arms of Miles Dorans. Yeah, it's just a dangerous pass for no reason early in this one. Now 3rd and 6, Doug in the throw once again, has some time, pass left side, is tipped and incomplete once again. Anthony Beck's upset, he wanted the penalty, nothing there. Jamar Summers on the coverage. And it is a gentleman's 3 and out base for the St. Louis Battlehawks. Trying to squeeze that into Jacquard Pearson. Yeah, it definitely shows that Duggan isn't. He's still getting his footing back underneath him in terms of playing time. But it's also just him wanting to make a play and being competitive like that. I don't understand it, but you gotta know when to just take the safer play. As a punt comes off clean and going to bounce into the back of the end zone for a touchback. But yeah, like on one hand, it is showing like the rust of him trying to make desperation plays, but it's also just the nature of a young mobile quarterback sometimes. I think it was best showcased with Justin Fields often in Chicago, and hell, also shown greatly with Will Levis in Tennessee last year. Because for both Fields his last year in Chicago and Levis last year, they knew if they didn't perform well and didn't win games for the team, that they were most likely going to be replaced in the following offseason because the draft had a really high-end quarterback, in Caleb Williams and Cam Ward respectively. Because when you get to that is where you really see them trying to make a play when there's no need to do it. And I wouldn't say unknowingly, but coincidentally end up losing the team more games than they otherwise would. I mean, like, if Levis just played a lot smarter with the football last year, Tennessee is probably a 6-7 win team, and they don't get Ward. Like, it's an entirely different outlook. Not just for the Titans, but for the entire NFL. If Will Levis just plays smarter with the football. And so we're at commercial break here. Still squared up at nothing. In part thanks to a missed field goal by Arlington and then a 4-play drive that went basically nowhere for St. Louis. I mean, I wanted to say Caleb Williams really showcased him. And yeah, there's definitely a part where where that's just part of the player's game. Like with Levis, it's definitely also part of his game that he's not a great. That is also just part of his game, and he's just not a great. I wouldn't say not a great quarterback. He's a solid backup, but he's just not a starter caliber player in the NFL, and that's completely fine. And like Jameis Winston is a prime example where interceptions are a part of his game. If you play him, you know he's gonna throw for like 2-3 interceptions a game. But on the flip side, he's also going to throw 2-3 touchdowns a game. And that's something you work with, and they fit better as a backup. As we're just coming back from commercial break, 4:35 to play in the first quarter. Arlington will get ball at the 25. Yeah, system definitely helps with it, but I don't think the Packers system really can help him too much. It helps Malik Willis because interceptions weren't already a part of his game in the same way it is for Levis. As Perez can hand this off to Day-Day Hunter up the middle, and that's a gain of about a yard, maybe 2. Yeah, it's definitely often don't get me wrong, like system and scheme definitely helps, but it also does depend on the style of play the quarterback likes. Because for a Shanahan style system, I don't think a guy like Levis would work in that system. Perez in shotgun back to his left, looking to throw on 2nd and 8. Pressure coming off that right side, gonna roll to his right and throw it to Isaiah Winstead, who's gonna lose about 2 yards there. and that's Nate Medors on the on the coverage. Yeah, it's 3rd and 10 for Arlington. Like a strong arm quarterback like Levis wouldn't necessarily fit in the Shanahan style. The Shanahan style is a lot more about anticipation and intelligent play compared to just pure arm strength. As before the 3rd and 10 play, Arlington is going to have to call a timeout. They were not going to get the snap off in time. With 3:26 to play in the first quarter, we have our first timeout called. Like we were like an Andy Reid, a Harbaugh style system. More so Jim, not John Harbaugh, but definitely Andy Reid, definitely Jim Harbaugh. I would go as far as say a Mike McCarthy style system as well. Those more so favor guys just having an insane arm. But even then, Mike McCarthy is a little bit of a question mark of if that system, one, is even good in the first place, and two, which side it leans more so towards. It's not McDermott who's running the offense in Buffalo. Is it still Joe Brady? Was it? No. Because it was Ken Dorsey, whatever. But yeah, the Buffalo offense is another one where arm strength is favored over taking the smart play sometimes. As we're at commercial break after the timeout before 3rd and 10. Oh, that's nice. They showed the Blues go ahead goal early on the jumbotron. Yeah, I would love it if the St. Louis Blues were able to tie up this series at 7. Yeah, definitely. Some teams are just better at developing quarterbacks, and it's some people say it's like it's coaches and systems. If you look at it, it is also just like team specifically as well. Like the 49ers, no matter who is the coach, they refuse to do a good job at finding quarterbacks. So like they're one, the Chargers are another. Uh, Packers kind of. I wouldn't say for sure they're one of them, but I mean again, they've had multiple Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and it seems like Jordan Love's doing pretty well. But like, no matter who, like if you get like, there are also some teams where like they're dead zones for quarterbacks. If you get drafted, like if the quarterback is drafted to the Jets, high chance they're not gonna do all too well. Closest I can think of for bad 49ers QBs would be, I want to say Alex Smith. Alex Smith is more so just disappointing than bad, as he first overall pick. He never really lived up to that standard. So like that's the closest, but like Montana was solid. Steve DeBerg had some solid years there. Steve Young was solid. George Hill was pretty good. And Alex Smith was more so just disappointed than outright bad. Kaepernick as well was above expectations there. Perez to throw once 3rd and 9, gonna pass right side, and that's caught by Winstead. A dive and grab at the 40 will keep the chains alive. Obviously, Garoppolo goes to San Francisco and plays better than expected. Only guys you can really point out and say they were bad in San Francisco were like guys who are journeyman quarterbacks, like a Nick Mullins, a CJ Beathard. But even then, some of their more consistent years are probably with the Niners. Maybe you throw in Trey Lance there, but that's hard to really judge because he had 2 games to start, and even in those 2 games, he did not play that bad. Handoff up the middle for Kalen Ballage is going to be a gain of roughly 6 on 1st and 10. A 2nd and 4 coming up. But yeah, for bad 49ers quarterbacks, you probably need to go back to like the 70s. He was way too overhyped. Like, Trey Lance should have stayed another year or two in North Dakota State. But he got rushed out of North Dakota State because of his potential. Handoff up the middle on 2nd and 4 is going to be a gain of roughly 3 up to about midfield for Kalen Ballage. Yeah, like, Trey Lance, when he was drafted, was a pure potential project quarterback. Which, the issue with that is, he got drafted to a team who could not afford to have a project quarterback in as starting immediately. Handoff up the middle on 3rd and 1 for Kalen Ballage will pick up the first down, and then some, a gain of roughly 3 or 4. Like, if the Niners more so picked Mac Jones, I think they would have been in a better spot. But at the same time, it's like, the Niners were really hoping that Trey Lance was going to give them a win-now situation. But they never really took the time into developing him the way he needed it to be. Perez in shotgun, back behind him. 3 receiving options to the right, and there's going to be a penalty marker down before the snap. Will be a false start on Arlington. I would love to see Trey Lance either here in the UFL or in the CFL, because I would love to see him get a proper chance at being a starter. I do think if he's developed properly, he can be a legit backup quarterback. But the issue is he's relegated to a QB3 right now in the NFL, and it's really tough to go from QB3 to QB2. It is really tough especially if you don't have a sample size already to help you out. It is tough to get those reps to work your way up the depth chart in the NFL. Perez play action looking to throw in 1st and 15. Pressure coming past left side is underthrown and incomplete. Looking for Javonte Payton, and now penalty markers fly. They may call this a late hit on St. Louis. I mean, I feel bad for Trey Lance, but like, that's the point of these spring leagues. You need to give him a shot. I understand wanting to try and stick it out in the NFL and be that QB3 and get paid some money, but like, you will get paid about the same amount, maybe a little bit more, making your way to the UFL, and you'll get a chance to start. There's a good chunk of teams right now in the UFL that would want Trey Lance's potential ability. Oh, 2 penalties on St. Louis. One of them is pass interference. That will be declined. The other is roughing the passer on St. Louis. That will be accepted at 15 yards and automatic first down. Exactly, like Kellen Mond went to the UFL this season. Didn't get the best film out there, but he at least has got film out there. Max Duggan is here now. He's been playing pretty well through 2 weeks at this point. Obviously, we know what Matt Corral can do. But like, that's the point of these leagues, is for guys like Trey Lance who might be cut or something. If we're talking about this game specifically, go Arlington just to mess with Botflash. If we're talking about the league as a whole, go DC. Perez play action, looking to throw, gonna step up and fumble it. Who fell on? There's a pile here, but pressure got there quick from St. Louis. Yeah, they're so surging through this pile. This play clock is winding down for no reason. And St. Louis comes out the pile with it. Seems like it's Peter Tamupenu who ended up falling on it. Great defensive play there from St. Louis. Perez seemed like he might have tried to pitch that backwards. I don't know what he was doing there. Like I was saying, you should root for Arlington, and then the next play, they turn the ball over. Do with that what you will. Yeah, again, this front 7 for St. Louis, it causes... Yeah, so Tamu Payne forces it loose and then falls on it, it seems. It was either him or Willie Harvey who fell on it. But it definitely seemed like Perez was thinking about tossing that ball backwards to one of his linemen. Yeah, I don't know what Perez was doing. Hey, just go down. He's trying to make a play there and trying to pitch it back, it seems. There's no point in it. But that's a big-time play for the St. Louis defense. 2 seconds to play in the first quarter. We're going to have one more play here. Oh, Arlington's gonna challenge this? What are they challenging? He's challenging for roughing the passer here? What? Alright, but Arlington's using their super challenge. You're saying roughing the passer? Okay, I can see. Okay. Willie Harvey, he jumps and he might have hit Perez high. He actually might win this challenge. Willie Harvey jumps to avoid a lineman and hits Perez in the top of the helmet. He might actually win this challenge. That would be the dumbest roughing the passer, but that's... Nope, okay, call stands. Good, thank you. I would have been pissed. I understand why they would have called that roughing the passer. But I am so happy they didn't. So Arlington is now without their challenge for the rest of this game, as they put 8 seconds back on the clock. We have 10 seconds left in the first quarter, and then they're putting even more time back on the clock. 17 seconds now left in the quarter. Still, pretty much just one more play. Yeah, but I mean, I don't fully get the idea of challenging that. Duggan and shotgun back to his right, 3 receiving options to the right as well. Going to hand this off up the middle, and that's a gain of about 1 yard. Believe that was Jacob Sailors on the carry. Yep. And that should bring us to the end of the first quarter. Yeah, that will bring us to the end of the first quarter. So Bob Stoops has discussed his philosophy behind challenges. I don't love it, but I get it. Like, his philosophy is, if it's a massive play going against us, we need to challenge it. Which, in certain situations in the game, yes, that makes sense. But this early on in the game, failing a challenge like that is terrible. Like, that screws you for the entire rest of the game. And especially in a game like this, you can't afford to fail a challenge early and not have it for later in the game. It makes no sense. Like, the challenging it in that situation makes no sense. You definitely could have gotten something, like, because I guarantee you, in a game like this between two teams of this caliber, there's gonna be a call late that is gonna completely change the game, that now they can't challenge in any way. Like, a blown call is gonna 100% decide this game now. God, how did Hellebuck keep that out? Exact fourth quarter game on the line is gonna be a dumb missed call. Did this puck stay out? Yeah, damn. How did that puck stay out? God damn, Hellebuck. I mean, if of all people, Bob Stoops should know that a call late in a game being changed will decide a game. That's how Arlington lost to Birmingham this season. Was because a false start was added onto a play after the fact. It just makes no sense wasting it here. All right, just coming back from commercial break. There you go. Highlighting Mark Colombo. Offensive line coach here in St. Louis, is a long time offensive lineman in the NFL. And was even an O-line coach in the NFL. He has this offensive line playing well this season. As Duggan in shotgun back to his right. Going to hand this off left side for Sailors. And going to find a lane and get to about midfield before being brought down. A gain of roughly 4. And a 3rd and 4 coming up. Again, this St. Louis ground offense, the best in the league by far. Nearly 150 yards per game is crazy. But to be fair, though, they also are averaging about 32 attempts per game, so it balances out. But still. Duggan, alone in shotgun. 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. 3rd and 4th in midfield. Will look to throw. Has time. Pass right side. That's caught by Blake Jackson for a first down and more. Up to the plus 41 yard line. And the Battlehawks have entered plus territory for the first time today. Yeah, it's a good throw from Duggan. I don't fully love the idea of going 5 wide there, but it worked. When you have the playmakers that St. Louis does, as long as you can get them in space, more often than not, they're going to make a play in your favor. Duggan in shotgun back to his left. 1st and 10 from the 41. Going to play action, look to throw. Passing deep down the right side for Akeem Butler. Did he get his feet in? They say no. Oh, that was nearly a great play by Akeem Butler. If his only job for this team is 50-50 balls, that's all you really need of him. Oh, wait. That's close. Hold on. Gains possession. No, it's okay. Yeah. Barely incomplete, though. His heels. By half a foot, man. That's a... Duggan in shotgun back to his right. 3 receiving options to the left. Going to play action, look to throw on 2nd and 10. Pressure coming, trying to step up and avoiding it, but instead going to get taken down hard. Back near the 48-yard line. And here comes this Arlington front 7. Another damn good unit. Amani Bledsoe was in there. There's a nicely timed corner blitz. Amani Bledsoe gets in there. Charlie Thomas gets in there. Ajeen Harris was the first in the backfield off that corner blitz. And now it's a 3rd and 16 with 12.5 to play in the first half. Ball backed up on the 47. Duggan looking to throw, trying to get into field goal range at this point. And he's going to be brought down once again. Back near the minus 45. That's That's Willie Taylor bringing him down from the linebacking spot. Back-to-back bad sacks to take. Oh, yeah, Willie Taylor, man, he just blows past. He just blows past Bradley Ashmore on that right side. So St. Louis on a 4th and 23 is going to be forced to punt and try to pin Arlington deep. Punt comes off clean. And this is going to be returned beginning from the 12 and going to get up to about the 13 maybe. But not much going there on that return. Going to start off backed up inside their own 15 as Luis Perez takes the field. But first, we head to a commercial break with 11:36 to play from St. Louis. I wouldn't say it's a fall apart just yet. I just think on those back-to-back plays, the Arlington secondary played well. Because again, St. Louis likes, just very kind of similar to Arlington. St. Louis likes to go quick with their offense, because if you can get the defense uncomfortable, you go quick like that, it helps. But it's just good coverage on the back end, and at some point, I thought this defensive line was going to create pressure like this. It's good coverage on the back end. It's on that corner blitz. It's just the fact that Gene Harris was untouched basically, and the offensive line didn't. I want to say didn't slide the right way. It just didn't have enough people in the backfield to block. But again, everyone knew going into this game that it was not going to be easy for either offense. It's going to take one play, and nearly Hakeem Butler made that one play. We'll see. So starting backed up inside your own 15 is not where you want to be. If this can become a field position battle, if this becomes a field position battle, I'm not sure who it really favors, because Marquette King is a damn good punter. I don't think Marquette King has the most NFL experience out of anyone in the UFL, but he's definitely up there. No, I don't think Silvers would get the start. Because again, if this is a very high chance that this is a defensive slugfest. And if that's the case, it's just you're going against a really great defense. Like, this game is going to be decided by one play. Whichever offense can make a play first, they're gonna have the advantage. Perez and shotgun back behind him. Two receiving options to each side. Can send one of them in motion left to right. As Perez hands this off up the middle for Balaj, that's a gain of 1. I could see this game more so being along the lines of like 9-6 at this point. 9-6, 10-9, something like that. Like, there's a good chance we only get one touchdown in this game. Arlington only having the one timeout is not going to help them at this point in the game either. As it's 2nd and 9. Yeah, it's going to be a low score no matter what. 2nd and 9, Perez in shotgun, looking to throw from the 15. Pressure coming, pass over the middle is incomplete. Again, this St. Louis front 7, man, it is no joke, and it takes advantage there. Perez lucky to get that ball off over the middle, and lucky no one was there. As it's 3rd and 9 from their own 15-yard line. Like, it's all like offense needs to make a play. Whichever defense has a breakdown first is also going to decide shit. Perez in shotgun, looking to throw on 3rd and 9. Has some time. Pass over the middle is caught by Balaj and going to spin his way to the 19-yard line. A 3 and out for the Renegades. And there we go. Now St. Louis can have some pretty solid starting field position to begin this next drive, as St. Louis will be punting from about the goal line. Weirdly enough, I think both teams were like a low-scoring game. Because you line... St. Louis played a similar game to this last year, I believe. But you line up Hakeem Butler in the slot and just have him go in the seam. That's a tough thing to beat, especially if you run cover 2. Punt comes off clean, gets up to about the 39-yard line for this Jacquard Pearson, but there is a penalty marker down.
Like I don't think a slot corner or a linebacker would want to go 1-on-1 against Akeem Butler in the slot. Line him up in the slot and let him take the seam. Oh, illegal shift on Arlington will be enforced after the play, so like extra 5 on after the return. As with 9:42 to play in the first half, we're gonna head to another commercial break. Again, if you put Akeem Butler in the slot, he's gonna be able to make a play. But we'll see. I'm not surprised the Marlins are struggling. It's not no one else but Butler, but I definitely do feel like their last year team had a little bit more of firepower. I mean, especially on the receiving core. I mean, they still have Jacquard Pearson, they still have Frank Darby, they have Blake Jackson still. They added Denzel Mims, but he hasn't been a main factor of this offense yet this season. Jake Sutherland as well, who was a big piece last year. He hasn't been asked to catch the ball to the same degree as he has. They've really been run heavy team this year. And an out of the backfield type of team. So I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if we see a screenplay coming up for St. Louis, trying to get Steelers the ball in space. Try to get Pearson the ball in space. Like, they have weapons on this team. They just need to try and get them in space. Will they be able to? Who knows? Yeah, they haven't really. I mean, they also haven't. They have like 10 plays today. They haven't really targeted anyone outside of Akeem Butler, as well as Jacquard Pearson. Like, they definitely have weapons on this team. They just need to find a way to utilize them. Oh, we have a full circle of parity in the UFL now. Hell yeah! After the Memphis win last week. I mean, yeah, there's been 5 possessions in this game, 3 punts, a missed field goal, and a fumble. It's just been Yeah, Sailor's been a weapon of choice this year, but even though he hasn't been asked much today. Duggan under center, gonna quick pass left side to Jackson, who's gonna look to throw once again. Rolling to his right, trying to find some room. Still looking downfield, not gonna keep it himself and gain about 3 on the play. Alright, they tried that trick play that worked for them well last week, but good coverage on the back end, but still, Blake Jackson finds a way to create magic on that. Pick up a 3 there is not bad. So 2nd and 7, Duggan going to keep it himself right side on the read option. Lower in his shoulder and going to pick up about 8, enough for a first down. That is the other thing. If Duggan can utilize his legs a bit more, similar to what he did last week, it's going to really help out this team. We've seen that we've seen the entirety of this season is when the ground game is working, especially the QB run game is working for St. Louis, the entire offense opens up. All right, 3rd and 1. They move the spot back a bit, it seems. I know, now they're going to move the spot again, giving St. Louis the first down. Okay, make up your mind, please. So just under 8.5 to play in this first half. First and 10 here for St. Louis. Ball in plus territory at about the, 44-yard line. As Duggan in shotgun, back behind him, motioning a tight end in the backfield to his left. Duggan will keep it himself right side, read option once again, and going to gain about 6, maybe 7. Utilizing his legs. That's the key. Again, that's the key thing with this offense as well. He's ruling the gain of 5. Man, getting Duggan in space with his legs. Yeah, I mean, he ran really well last week and was a big factor in that win. So Duggan under center, back behind him. 3 receiving options to the left. Duggan will play action, look to throw. Has time. Plenty of time in the pocket. Now going to roll to his right to buy some more and going to keep it himself. A first down and a whole lot more. Inside the 20, the 15, the 10. Duggan inside the 5 and getting tripped up and somersaulted down to about the 2. Max Duggan using his legs. First and goal for St. Louis. Inside the red zone for the first time today. And that's what you need from Duggan. Again, offensive line gave him plenty of time to make a play. And yeah, he kind of had someone, but that worked a lot better. First and goal from the 2, going to be a QB sneak that gets about a yard. Yeah, that's a great. Oh, you know what? If Pearson lays that block instead of telling Duggan and go to the sideline, they might have been able to get in. Yeah, that might have been a touchdown run if Pearson turns and just lays a block. But again, that's a great run in from Duggan. Now a second and goal from the 1-yard line. They're not going to get the snap off in time. So 6.5 to play in the first half. We're going to see them call their first timeout. Yeah, I mean, if Pearson gets that block, he might have been able to get the pylon. We'll see. Yeah, we're at commercial break here. Okay, there we go. How did I forget to have that effect on? Okay. I somehow did not realize that my background noise canceling effect was not on for this mic, but now it is. So cool. That should mean I can raise the volume a bit more in the game. Cool. Hell yeah. The commercial break, 8.5 to play. No, 6.5 to play in this first half. St. Louis is facing a second and goal from the 1-yard line, trying to get on the board first. Only reason they'll be on the board first is because of a missed field goal on the opening drive for Arlington. As again, this game has a lot of meaning behind it for the grand scheme of the XFL conference. Winner of this will move to second place in the XFL conference, and this is the last time these two teams are meeting each other this season. Arlington won the first matchup between these two in what was a pretty dominant showing. St. Louis looking to even up the series. So Duggan in shotgun, back behind him, a tight end motion in the backfield to his right. Duggan gonna hand this off up the middle, and that's Jacob Sailors going nowhere with that. Donald Payne, one of a few of different Renegades into the backfield instantly on that play. I think Miles Dorn was another one. As it's now 3rd and goal. This has been a run-heavy drive for the Battlehawks. No pass attempts yet in this drive. Duggan in shotgun back to his left. Hakeem Butler lined up all alone on the left side as Duggan looking for that goal line fade to Butler is incomplete. I like the decision. Throw needs to be better. Stephen Jones in coverage. That pass was not placed well. You gotta throw that like a proper 50-50 ball. Throw it to the sideline. Like, that throw needs to be better. You gotta throw that to the sideline towards that back pylon. Duggan threw it too far inside. And now 4th and goal from the 1. The offense stays on the field. Duggan in shotgun back to his left. 2 receiving options to each side. A ball on about the 2-yard line, actually. Duggan looking to throw once again. Has time. Pass right side is incomplete. Looking for Hakeem Butler on a slant. But a low throw allows Jaden Price to make a play. And they turn the ball over on downs. He had space to step up. He had space to step. Yeah, step to your right. You have that space. That I get the decision to throw it and try to fit one into Hakeem Butler. It does bounce off his chest. Okay, I can't be too upset. It does bounce off his chest. We have 5:13 to play in the half. We're going to a commercial break. It does bounce off the chest. It does. But Duggan has space to just use his legs and guarantee get it. I mean, you have that space to just step into and either get more into the throw or just kick it yourself. I would have much preferred to see Duggan do that. So Winnipeg tied it up at 1, but they really not calling offsides there? We're having a review. Now, that would be 29 seconds into the second period. How was that not called offsides? Yeah, okay. I have no idea how that was not called offsides initially by the line judge in this Winnipeg St. Louis game. Good challenge here by Jim Montgomery. All right, just coming back from commercial break, 5:13 in the play in this one. And yeah, they're showing that 2nd and goal play once again, the loss of a yard there by Sailors. And then, yep, that 3rd and goal play, just again, if that throw is outside, if that throw to Hakeem Butler is outside and towards the sideline, that's a touchdown. And yeah, Jaden Price does get a hand on that one, but it still hits Butler in the chest. Duggan needs to throw a better goal line fade. And I'm saying that as someone who also as someone who also does not throw a good goal line fade. But he needs to, he needs to throw a better goal line fade there. So Perez and shotgun back behind him. Two receiving options to each side. Ball backed up on their own 2-yard line. 1st and 10. Going to hand this off to Balaj up the middle. And that's going to be a gain of about 4 up to the 6. You're hoping for Nuggets at this point, just hoping to have a 3 and out. Try and play that field position game. How did that puck stay out? Perez and shotgun back to his right. 3 receivers to the left. 2nd and 6 from the 6. As Perez is going to hand this off to Balaj once again up the middle, and that's going to go nowhere. No gain on a play. He trips trying to cut back inside, and Peter Tamupenu is amongst the Battlehawks that forces that errant cut. And now it's 3rd and 6. The crowd is getting into this one. 4:15 to play in the first half in what has been a very defense-heavy game. 4 minutes to play. Perez alone in shotgun. 3 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. Perez looking to throw it. There's going to be a penalty pre-snap. They're going to get a false start in Arlington, aren't they? Yep. False start on Arlington. Push them back even more. The 14th false start against Arlington this season. That one was on Adrian Ailey. Ailey? But that's a very bad false start to take. That's a 3rd false start tonight against the Renegades. Now it's 3rd and 10. Ball back at the 2-yard line. Perez and shotgun back to his left. 2 receivers to each side. Perez looking to throw. Pressure coming quick. Pass right side is in the dirt, incomplete. We're going to have a Battlehawk fall on it just in case of ruling a fumble. Nonetheless, that should at least be intentional grounding. 3.5 to play. 4th and 10 currently. But pressure got there quick. Tamupenu was the one who forced the bad pass. It's definitely incomplete. Yeah, it's definitely incomplete. Was there someone in the area, though? That's the question. True, if only they do give points for false starts. All right, they're saying not intentional grounding, so Market King on to send this one down. Both offenses have not looked good tonight. I will say that. All right, so they're adding time back on this clock now with 3:25 to play. Again, Marquette King going to be punting from the back of his own end zone. Punt comes off clean. Going to be returned beginning from the +49. That's Jacques Pierce on the return and getting great starting field position up to the +32. And now comes Max Duggan with 3:08 to play in the first half. Already in field goal range. That is the key thing. They are already in field goal range. You don't need to do anything more. So Duggan and shotgun back behind him. 2 receiving options to each side. A handoff to Sailor's right side. And going to find his way to pick up 4 up to about the 30. Thank you. Yeah, I realize on Wednesday night that this is kind of like the best way to make it so I don't have any like shadows on my face with this setup, because I don't have a proper like ring light or anything right now. I mean, I technically do, but I don't like it, and it still doesn't even work well. So this is how we do it. Duggan under center, back behind him. Two receiving options to each side. Play action, looking to throw on 2nd and 6. Has time. Pass left side and incomplete. What a play from Jaden Price. Knocking that ball away from an open Akeem Butler. It's 3rd and 6. And this could bring us to the 2-minute warning. Yeah, Arlington is definitely in a tough spot now at this point. They're in a very tough spot. And again, like, when the offenses don't get going, it comes down to a field position battle, which is why St. Louis was fine going for it on that 4th and goal. Their defense has done just enough to where you can have faith that they're going to force a punt force a punt that begins well into their own territory. As we have entered the 2-minute warning, 2 minutes to play in the first half, all tied up at 0. No team has been able to break through and get on the board just yet. Arlington has had 2 chances, but one was called back due to receiver being out of bounds before catching the ball, and the other was really the refs' fault. I will say that. The refs have screwed Arlington out of 3 points in this one, as they believe that Arlington called a timeout before the 44-yard field goal try that on the first attempt was good. But because they believed Arlington called a timeout, they called the play dead and iced the kicker. He missed it on the following try. Yeah, Birmingham has looked rough this year. And, I mean, the biggest issue is the constant changing of quarterbacks due to injury. Like, for as much as I do like Cookus, and for as much as I do like Birmingham this week, against the top tier teams, Cookus just doesn't have it in the same way that Corral and even Magoo could have had it. Yeah, exactly. And the NFL teams have been starting to do that a lot more recently as well. Is like if you get inside the 5, it's 4 down territory. That's been like the mindset of the NFL and of coaches recently. And it makes sense, especially if you know you have a good defense. And of course, if the situation allows it. Like if you're down by 2 possessions, you take the points there. But since the game is still tied at 0, it makes total sense to just go for it on 4th and goal. And Winnipeg has tied it up against the Blues. All right, just coming back from commercial break, 2 minutes to play in the first half. St. Louis in field goal range. Just don't force the ball, play smart here, and you're good. Third and 6. Duggan in shotgun back to his right. 2 receiving options to each side. Ball in the 30. Play action looking to throw. Duggan with time. Pass right side. Going for it all. And it's caught by Akeem Butler. Touchdown St. Louis. Throw that 50-50 ball to him. He comes down with it 90% of the time. But there is a penalty marker. What is the penalty? As it stands, is a touchdown St. Louis. A great throw from Duggan into the basket. And it's going to be offsides on Arlington. Penalty declined. There's the first points on the board in this one. Yeah, it's that beautifully placed. You throw that 50-50 ball to Akeem Butler. He comes down with it greater than 50% of the time. Much needed play there. And I love the concept as well St. Louis is going to go for 2 here, trying to go up by 8. Duggan looking to throw, rolling to his right, pass is batted at the line, incomplete. So it remains a 6-point St. Louis lead with 1:54 to play in the half. But that was a much needed play from the offense. I love it. It's a concept that's seen everywhere in football. You have the outside receiver running some kind of kick route. It's basically a screen, essentially just a slant stop. And then you have the slot receiver running a wheel. And the idea is you get that separation that way. In this point, Arlington did play it well and didn't really cause and kept good coverage. But, I mean, it's a 50-50 ball to Akeem Butler, and he comes down with that more often than not. That's a great one. Also, I'm pretty sure I just saw the Blues score to take the lead. That doesn't seem like it. Yeah. It's the same camera and everything, you know. All I'm doing in this setup is like this is how it would look if I did normal lighting. And I don't fully love how the shadows on my face or anything, so I just there we go. So it's legit just the lights off and I have an RGB light around the fan. It's nothing special. It's just I like how the camera picks up my face in this lighting a lot more. As kickoff is going to be a down in the end zone for a touchback. Arlington will begin from the 30. Hakeem Butler this season putting up a Randy Moss level stat line on Thanksgiving. 3 receptions this season for Hakeem Butler, 154 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He's a machine. Yeah, it's the way that the Logitech camera works with its contrast. It's weird, but I'll deal with it. I would prefer to have the light on normally because it does get kind of hot like this. But yeah, at some point I'll get a little bit better of a lighting system. But I don't mind. The ball's actually started from the 35. Perez in shotgun back to his left. 3 receivers to the right as he will look to throw. Now going to hand this off to Day Hunter on a halfback draw. And that's a loss of 5. Travis Feeney threw him around like it was nothing. Tim Keem, he's made his presence felt in his first game and a half back. And I am not surprised at all by the Heat getting swept. I would have been shocked if they didn't. Perez in shotgun going to hand this off to Day Hunter once again, and this time he's going to get about 7. But still gets laid out there at the end of the play. Quinterio Cole with the hit this time. And it's a 3rd and 8 for the Battlehawks. He swung Day Hunter around like it was Sunday's paper. Maybe don't go that far, but yeah, that was... It was a nice tackle to save a few yards. Perez to throw on 3rd and 8. Pressure coming, can try and step up, but brought down and sacked at the 30. This front 7 for St. Louis has given nothing up. Isaiah Mack on the sack that time. And with 48 seconds to play in the half, it is a 3 and out, and I believe we have the Battlehawks calling a timeout here. Good coverage on the back end. You can get the pressure to force... This front 7, man. St. Louis's front 7 is so damn good. Yeah, St. Louis calls their second timeout with 48 seconds to play. Trying to get the ball back and trying to extend this lead. The Battlehawks do get ball to begin the second half. Punt comes off clean. Going to be returned beginning from the 16-yard line. Jacquard Pearson has some room, gets up to about the 33. Yeah, it's definitely a little more aggressive of nature for St. Louis now with that Hakeem Butler is back. Because again, you have that confidence in him to be able to come down with 50-50 balls consistently. And even if he doesn't come down with it, you still are a greater chance of that being incomplete and it being picked off. So it definitely is another wrinkle to the St. Louis offense that we haven't seen yet this season, and it has really shined these past few weeks. The ball on the 33, dug in and shotgun back to his left, 2 receivers to each side. Will look to throw. Pass right side is caught, makes one man miss. That's Frank Darby, makes a second man miss. First down and more. Still going and brought down at the 49-yard line. Good play by Frank Darby, and St. Louis trying to get into field goal range. Career long for Rodrigo Blankenship is a 56-yard kick. So you're going to need to get to about the 37-ish as the Battlehawks will call their final timeout. And there was also a Renegade down after that play. Yeah, that sucks. That's the nature of that shit. To be fair, again, most of the channels that usually broadcast games are being taken up right now. Again, the Blues and Winnipeg are playing on TNT. ESPN has Game 6 between Golden State and Houston. And Fox is this game, obviously. And I wouldn't be surprised if FS1 is being used as well. Oh, it's Chris Odom who was down after that play. He's heading off under his own power, though. That's a big-time player for Arlington, man. He's a massive player on this front seven. It's friendly fire. Gets some helmet-to-helmet contact between him and one of his teammates. Yeah. Also, it's also preseason. Those games don't get broadcast greatly anyway, no matter where any sport, not the NFL, it seems. Duggan looking to throw on 1st and 10 from the 49. Has time, pass left side. Plenty of space for Blake Jackson. That's a first down and more. Gets to about the 37. I believe they're in field goal range now, but would obviously like a little more. They're going to place this ball at the 38. So they need about another yard or two. Is Duggan going to spike it with 20 seconds to play? It would be a roughly 56, 57-yard kick from here. You need to get a little bit more. Yeah, I think Rodrigo got this. I mean, that 56-yard kick he hit against DC would have been good from 60. Arlington has 4 total yards this quarter compared to 112 from St. Louis. Jeez. Duggan and shotgun back to his right, looking to throw on 2nd and 10. Quick pass right side is tipped at the line and incomplete. Still about 5 seconds of clock there. You feel comfortable, you want to get inside the 35. He was looking for Jacob Sailors in the flat, and that definitely would have gotten inside the 35. But now with it being 3rd and 10, you need to play the sideline and the first down marker. Those are the only ways the clock will stop. And the only ways you'll be able to then stop the clock. So you're looking for the sideline. You're looking for just... Oh no, they gave St. Louis their timeout back because Arlington had to call their final one due to an injury timeout. So never mind. St. Louis can work the entire field now that they have a timeout. Arlington had to call their final due to the injury timeout. That's what it was. Duggan going to hand this off up the middle for Sailors, and that's going to get to about the 30. Good field goal range. You're going to be able to let this clock run and just send out Rodrigo Blankenship. It's a gain of 7, and here is the final timeout for St. Louis of the half with 2 seconds to play. Yeah, they're going to. I mean, and St. Louis gets ball to begin the second half as well. So they have played these final 2 minutes as perfectly as you could ask of them. So out comes Rodrigo Blankenship. And his long is 56. This one from the left hash is sitting at 49. A 49-yard kick from the left hash. They set it up well. It was all up to Blankenship to get the job done. Kick is up, and it is good. Rodrigo Blankenship remains a perfect 13 for 13 on the season as the Battlehawks are up by 9, and they get ball to begin the second half. All right, event at halftime. Yeah, I mean, it's less Arlington stepping up and more so can it take advantage on if/when the Battlehawks defense has a mistake. 120 yards in the second quarter for the Battlehawks. Talk about an explosion of offense. Hell of a second quarter and a great first half all around. This defense can play really well. Outside of that opening drive, the Renegades have not been able to do anything. It's been a nothing burger for this Arlington offense. That first drive was a pretty darn good first drive. Nearly resulted in a touchdown. Should have resulted in 3. Instead, though, it's a 9-0 lead for the Battlehawks. We're at halftime. We're heading to a commercial break. I will be right back. Oh, speaking of, the Blues have taken a 2-1 lead. A good way to enter the halftime here as well. I'll be right back. We back. Still at halftime, still at commercial break. We are back though. Oh, that beat Hellebuck short side? That's one that Hellebuck normally gets. Oh, that was a different Blues goal. Oh, shit. Okay, the Blues are up 3-1 in a very crucial Game 6. Okay, Hellebuck makes that save. If they would have gotten a wraparound as well. How quickly did the Blues just score back-to-back there? Damn. You scored quickly back to back, huh? It's not no 2 goals in 11 seconds like the Panthers did in game 4, bud. I think one of the things that's I wouldn't say funny, but it's like you have the St. Louis Blues, which makes sense. Like it's a team named after a music genre that's like known in the area. The story behind the Utah Jazz being the Utah Jazz will never get old. But I told you when y'all were down 0-2, it's not a series until the road team wins a game. And so far, hey, 4-1 St. Louis, there's another one. Y'all are destroying Hellebuck right now. Holy. Yeah, so far in this series, the road team has yet to win a game. This is a massive game 6. Save some goals for game 7, man. Come on. I mean, if game 7 would be, Sunday, because second round begins Monday. I know Panthers begin Tuesday in their series against Toronto, which I am not fully looking forward to that series. But the screens y'all are setting in front of Hellebuck tonight have been crazy. Like, they've been borderline goalie interference. You would. The crazy thing is, y'all be going against either Dallas or Colorado. Which the crazy thing is, tomorrow night, Denver/Colorado has 2 game 7s that start 30 minutes apart. Both the Nuggets and the Avalanche play game 7 tomorrow night. I mean, I think y'all can hang with Colorado. If you have to go against Dallas, that would be a lot tougher of a matchup. I mean, hey, that's a lot of teams. The President's Cup is not something you want to win if you also want to win the Stanley Cup. It has been a long time coming since a team has won the President's Trophy and the Stanley Cup at the same year. Like, it just doesn't happen. And hell, like that's the reason why a lot of people believe that in the tail end of the regular season that the Capitals purposely were losing some games because they didn't want the President's Trophy curse. Hell, Florida got hit with that in 22. They won the President's Trophy in 2022, got bounced second round by Tampa, and then 2 years later they win the Cup. Yeah, I want to say the last time a team won the President's Trophy and the Stanley Cup in the same year was 94 with the Rangers. I very easily could be wrong with that. I remember that being a storyline last year during the Eastern Conference Finals. It has definitely happened before. It just hasn't happened in a long time. I believe the last time was 94. I could be wrong. It could have happened sooner. But I do believe that was the last time. It definitely hasn't happened. It definitely hasn't happened in the 2010. And so if it happened like early 2000s, then I wouldn't know. But it definitely has not happened since at least 2010. Yeah. Because last year during the Eastern Conference Finals, there was a lot of similarities and a lot of ties between the run the Rangers were going on and the run they went on in 94. So I was constantly hearing about it. Didn't matter though, because the Panthers got in the way and won in 6. I've been to so many Dolphin games. A lot of it during the bad years, yes, like the 2010s. But of all the sporting events I've been to, nothing will ever compare to that Game 6 in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. I think the only way something would compare would be going to a Stanley Cup final game where the Panthers win where the Panthers win the cup again. I think that would be the only way something compares, something beats that. The energy in that stadium when I believe it was, I don't want to get this wrong. I'm 99% sure when Tarasenko got the game leading goal in the third. The energy in that stadium was palpable. Oh, the Blues going on another power play. God damn. The one of the crazy things about why this game so far has been like insane for y'all for St. Louis is Hellebuck is a finalist for the Vezina again, and for the past few years, like he's been seen as the best goalie in the NHL. Like the fact that he's just been struggling tonight. I called it offsides. Okay. We'll see. We're still at halftime. You're in the UFL, so keeping up with this NHL game right now as well. I have not seen. I've checked the score for Warriors Rockets, but I just don't really care about that game. Typically, I would. I mean, let me see. Am I gonna be able to get? Nah, I can only get a dual box setup. Come on. I can't wait for YouTube TV to allow me to create my own quad boxes. There's the fifth. Or don't tell me they're about to pull Hellebuck. It would make sense, but if they pull Hellebuck with 3 minutes to play in the second period, 5-1 St. Louis. God damn. All right. Just getting back. Just getting back from halftime. Third quarter about to be underway. Second half kickoff about to be underway. St. Louis getting ball to begin the second half. Kickoff will be returned beginning from the 6th as Blake Jackson under return, getting up to about the 29, maybe the 30 before being brought down. Now comes Max Duggan. The St. Louis offense has had back-to-back really solid drives here, trying to make it 3 straight and taking a very commanding lead. Bro, how is Hellebuck is okay? For as impressive as this is, Hellebuck is getting beat by inches. This very easily could have been a different game. Duggan and shotgun back to his right. 3 receiving options to the right as well. First play of the second half is a play action as he looks to throw. Passing deep, left side for Akeem Butler, and that falls incomplete. Some great coverage there from Chris Claybrooks. Now 2nd and 10 for St. Louis. Duggan under center, back behind him. 2 receiving options to each side. As Duggan will play action, look to throw once again. Has time, passing deep, right side, has a man and incomplete. Through the outstretched fingertips of Frank Darby, it's 3rd and 10. It's there. It's there. There's plenty of space around him. It needs to be a better ball. Oh, it's wide open. It definitely could have been a better ball. Yeah, it's through the fingertips. Ball needed to be a little bit inside more. But by inches. I mean, if that's a better pass by like an inch, it's massive. Duggan and shotgun looking to throw on 3rd and 10. Pressure coming and going to be stacked inside the 25 at the 23. Once again, it's Willie Taylor off that right side, and it's a 3 and out for this St. Louis offense to begin the second half. If he had an extra second. Oh, if he had an extra second. The tight end was wide open left side. Or was that Akeem Butler? Either way, someone was wide open left side. If he gets an extra second there, that's a potential touchdown. All right, punt comes off clean. Going to be returned beginning from the 30. Gets up past the 35 to the 37. Arlington will begin from there. St. Louis is on another. The Blues are on another power play. They're 0 for 3 on the power play tonight, but the fact that they're even on another power play is crazy. As we head to a commercial break in this one. I'm kind of shocked Hellebuck has not been pulled yet. If he lets in one more, he's getting pulled for sure. We'll see. We'll select commercial break here. If the Blues score one more from top of the zone, if they score one more from the blue line, that would be crazy. They're shooting from there. They're definitely trying. Yeah, this power play will go until the end of the second period. All right. We select commercial break here. All right, just coming back from commercial break. Arlington going to need a drive here. Still only down by 1 possession. But they're definitely going to need points on this drive. You're going to need a much better second half. There's 30 seconds left in the St. Louis power play. Send it to cross eyes. Probably getting intercepted, but would have been better than that shot. Perez is only 6 for 9 passing. I think he could be getting in the air a bit more. Yeah, he's getting pressured, but come on. Perez and shotgun back to his left. 2 receiving options to each side. 1st and 10 from the 37. Motion in the back to his right in the backfield now as he would play action, look to throw. Pass over the middle, wide open Javonte Payton, 1st down and more. Pass midfield to the 46. I believe that's the first time Arlington has passed midfield since the opening drive of the game. That's a great play and a much needed one there as well. Simple RPO. Got Mike Rose to bite on the handoff and left the middle of the field wide open for Javonte Payton on the slant. Now 1st and 10 from the plus 46. Perez in shotgun back to his left. 2 receiving options to each side. Getting a much needed drive here for the Renegades. Handoff to Balaj right side. Break some tackles and going to gain about 2 with a penalty marker down. We'll see what this is. As Balaj is heading off to the sideline after that play. And it's going to be a penalty on Arlington, it seems. Might be holding. Yep, holding on the Renegades. Push them back 10. They weren't even able to run multiple plays in plus territory before anything. Let's see who they call it on. Yeah, I mean, it's a bad holding call to take. It's there. Like, when you're not involved in a play, you don't want to take a holding call there. So Perez and shotgun back to his right. 2 receiving options to each side. Going to hand this off up the middle for Day Hunter, and that's only a gain of a yard up to the 45. As Balaj is taking an extended look here by the medical staff. Feeling that left shoulder, it seems. Now a 2nd and 18. Perez alone in shotgun. 3 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. Play clock running down to get the snap off in time. Perez, quick throw right side, caught by Tyler Vaughn. Going to get past midfield to about the 47-ish to make it a more manageable 3rd down. But still a 3rd and roughly 11. As the dome gets loud. A big time 3rd down here again. This was a drive Arlington needed points on in some capacity. So we'll see. It's a 3rd and 12. Perez in shotgun, back to his left. 2 receivers to each side. Ball on the plus 48. Perez to throw once again. Has time. Pass right side. Picked off. Intercepted by Chris Payton-Jones. Going the other way. And forced out of bounds near midfield at about the 48. A big time play there for the St. Louis defense. Making a play. And the Battlehawks are still well in front in this game. And in full control. He threw that pass late, looking for Tyler Vaughn on a comeback route at the 1st down marker. He threw it late and inside, and it goes the other way. 10:27 to play in the 3rd quarter. We head to a commercial break. Chris Payton-Jones making the big time play that was needed for the St. Louis defense. They've been struggling a bit getting turnovers. They got a few last week against Michigan. They got one this week. And that's the big thing. In their wins, they are winning the turnover battle. And it's not even a question. In their losses, they are badly losing the turnover battle. Which in theory makes sense, but there have been teams in the past that can kind of go about even with the turnovers. But yeah, this St. Louis defense It's a mix of just like the defense being a damn good defense, and this is the nature of the home field advantage that St. Louis has. Even with the Blues having a big time game 6 tonight as well, to still have enough people in those stands to get Perez off center and get him uncomfortable. So that way making it so he does, like, yeah. It's just when you get that loud crowd noise, especially in a league like this where a lot of players maybe aren't used to it at this level, it makes a world of difference, and we're seeing it today. We saw it last week with Danny Edling as well. Because like Perez, he just threw that late. It was open if he threw it on time, but he threw it late and he threw it too far inside. The holding call killed that drive. Like that holding penalty was a drive killer there. Yeah, Hellebuck has not been playing well versus the Blues. At least on the road, he hasn't. So it's a good thing that the Jets have home field or home ice in that series. Yeah, that was off target. Threw it too far inside. He did throw it more on time than I thought he did. But Chris Payton Jones, man, made a great play on that ball. And it was basically thrown to him. You gotta throw that towards the sideline more. Yeah, their biggest issue this season has been the penalties against them for Arlington. I mean, it has lost them games. It probably lost them this game as well, but we'll see. There's still time left. It still remains a one possession game for the time being, so we'll see. Ball on their own 47, Duggan and shotgun back behind him, two receiving options to each side bunched up. As they're going to toss this left side for Jarvion Howard, who's going to find a lane to pick up 2. Yeah, not much else going there. So Duggan under center, back behind him. 3 receiving options to the right, and the play action look to throw. Pressure coming in stacked back near the 43. Once again, a corner blitz doing well as Balaj is heading to the locker room. Jaden Price was one of three Renegades into the backfield on that play. That's gonna, as long as they can time these blitzes well and continue timing them well, I mean, they have to be feeling good. That is still no shot. That's only their second sack today. By the way, Duggan in shotgun, looking to throw on 3rd and 14. Pass right side is incomplete. Looking for Frank Darby. Jaden Price continues to make plays tonight. One of the few Renegades who have shown up today. As it's 4th and 14 and back-to-back 3 and outs to begin the second half for the Battlehawks. As Perez is warming up on the sideline, going to be without Kalen Balaj. It seems for the time being. Hopefully he's all good. As St. Louis looks to send this one down, punt comes off clean and going to be returned beginning from, going to bounce into the end zone for a touchback. Arlington will begin from, I believe, the 25, maybe the 30. Nonetheless, their defense is doing what they need to. Their defense is playing well. They have forced a lot of pressure. There's 8.5 left in the quarter. We're going to head to a commercial break. Like, their defense is playing fine. It's the offense that needs something. All it takes is one play for this offense to be able to find a rhythm. It takes one play. And really, that pass to Javonte Payton to begin the last drive should have been that one play. But a bad holding call pushes him back. Yeah, I mean, again, Arlington has still made a good flip from last year, definitely. Yeah, they have still made a good flip from last year. This time last year, Arlington was 0-5, about to be 0-6. So they're 3-2 right now, potentially most likely going to be 3-3. And they're still sitting pretty and still sitting good for a chance to make the XFL Conference Championship. Because here's the thing, still remaining on the schedules, St. Louis still has to play Birmingham and DC. They have to play Birmingham and they have to play DC again. Those are not going to be easy games. Arlington still has to play Michigan, DC, and then they end the season against Memphis and San Antonio. If these two teams are a game behind each other, it very well might come down to the final week to see who gets in. But Arlington is definitely going to need to step up a bit for this final stretch. And now again, they're only down by one possession still. They can still come back in this game. They're not out of it just yet. It feels like they are because they've been able to do pretty much nothing on offense. But all it takes is one play. Their defense is going to give them chances, that's for sure. Yeah, without the penalties, they're a playoff contender for sure. No, even with the penalties, like they're still a playoff contender. You just need to get more consistent on offense. They're having some great weeks and then some bad weeks. You find that consistency, you're sitting fine. Perez and shotgun back behind him, 2 receiving options to each side. Play action looking to throw. They're trying to toss back left side for a screen. That's Day Hunter with room to run. A first down and more. Some good blocking gets up to the 39-yard line. A gain of 14. A throwback screen that initially got blown up, but second effort there, finds a lane. Is there no one too far down the field? Oh, I think just 3 yards, Grace. I mean, the ball is thrown behind the line, so I think it's fine. Yeah, I'm gonna say it all good. Gain of 14 on the play. Looks like the left tackle was a little. Oh, is that the challenge flag? I'm not. Yeah, I like this challenge. It seemed like there might have been 2 offensive linemen too far downfield. St. Louis's offensive style is very different from last year. It's a lot. They play a lot safer. They play a lot safer. They know they have a defense that can keep them in games. So the majority of it is very ground heavy, trying to kill clock. And if St. Louis can win every game 3-0, they'll be so fine with it. Because yeah, St. Louis is gonna challenge for a legal man downfield. So again, you get 3 yards. By the time this ball is caught, Marcus Minor is about 5 yards downfield. Even with that, I'm gonna say call stands. St. Louis will lose. I need to hear my. Yeah, okay. So it's college style. Because the pass was thrown behind the line of scrimmage, it did not matter how far downfield the offensive lineman was. I don't hate the challenge. They lose it, but I don't hate it. Because again, NFL mind. That would be a penalty. But because it was caught behind the line of scrimmage, it doesn't matter how far downfield the lineman was. Okay. So Perez and shotgun back behind him, going to hand this off right side. And there is a stoppage before the snap. Do they have to add time back or something? Seemed like it would have been a good loss of yards there. So what's the stoppage here? What's going on? Yeah, so they added about 7 seconds back on the clock. 7:53 to play in the third quarter. Perez and shotgun back behind him. 3 receiving options to the right. 1st and 10 from the 39-yard line. Perez going to hand this off right side for Day Hunter, and met in the backfield, breaks 1 tackle and going to gain about half a yard on the play. Good job just gaining something there. He was met pretty instantly in the backfield. Isaiah Mack is the one to bring him down at about the line of scrimmage, and maybe to get half a yard there. As now St. Louis is without a challenge for the rest of this game. It's all going to come down to the refs. Hell yeah. We love good old ref ball. Perez and shotgun back to his right, 2 receiving options to each side. Can send a receiver in motion left to right as they toss past this one to Javonte Payton right side for a gain of about 3, maybe 4. Callahan O'Reilly on the tackle. 7 minutes to play in the third. Yeah, I like the idea of doing a touch pass or a pop pass. No, yeah, touch pass. I like the idea of doing that there. Sure. As now it's 3rd and 5. Perez alone in shotgun. 3 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. Gonna send one of them in motion left to right. As Perez will throw quick over the middle. That's caught by Deontay Burnett. And that's a gain of 7, enough for a 1st down and to pass midfield to the 49. But there is a penalty marker down as well. We'll see what this is. If this is another penalty on this Arlington offensive line. It's a face mask on Arlington. It's called on the Arlington offensive line again. It's Marcus Minor called for a face mask. Gonna push him back from what would have been a successful 3rd down try. And yeah, that's clear. That is such an obvious face mask. Come on, man. That's his 4th penalty against him tonight. How has he not been taken out the game? It's now 3rd and 20. And that's a drive killer. That is a drive killer. That just killed his. It's 3rd and 20 now. You need midfield. Perez alone in shotgun. 3 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. Gonna send a receiver in motion right to left. As Perez will look to throw. St. Louis sends 3. Pass left side to Day Hunter is caught. And it loses about half a yard. Callahan O'Reilly for the tackle for loss. And although not going to go down in the books as a 3 and out, that is basically the equivalent of a 3 and out because of how many yards they gained on that play or on that drive. As it's 4th and 20, in total they've gained 4 yards on that drive. The punt from Marquette King comes off clean, going to be a bouncer that's going to be inside the 20, inside the 15. Down at about the 10, there is a penalty marker down as well. What? A lot of penalties in this one. Are they going to re-kick this? What's the penalty? Refs are discussing. Holding on Arlington is the penalty. Add on 10. I know, you're gonna re-kick. We got a re-kick. Now a 4th and 30 for the Renegades. They have to re-punt this one. Another chance to send them deep. Yeah, the penalty disparity is crazy. 9 penalties against Arlington for 60 yards, compared to 3 penalties against St. Louis for 25. That right there is the penalties that cost them this. Yes, the offense hasn't played great in general today, but they have had back-to-back drives that would have been saying gonna be a penalty here in St. Louis. Punt comes off clean though, gonna be returned beginning from the 35, out of bounds at the 40, out of bounds at the 48. This will be on St. Louis. This might give an automatic first down to Arlington. Depends on if it's running or roughing the punter. Oh yeah, they said roughing. Personal foul, roughing the kicker. Arlington maintains possession. They catch a break. They say roughing the kicker, so a bad penalty against St. Louis, so they cancel out for this drive. Yeah, it's preseason. It's preseason for the WNBA. I'm sure come the actual season, she'll be getting good minutes. Yeah, so they can get more penalties, yeah. But like, again, Arlington has had we'll see how this one goes now, but they've had back-to-back drives killed by penalties. That both drives would have gotten into plus territory, but they got pulled back due to penalties. So we'll see how this drive goes. It's just under 5 minutes to play in the third. Arlington still in a gotta-have point situation here. Ball on their own 34. Perez in shotgun back to his right. Going to hand this off to Day Hunter up the middle. That's a gain of a yard. Might give him 2. But not much going there nonetheless. 4.5 now to play in the third quarter. Yeah, that's a good save by Hellebuck. Oh no, they pulled Hellebuck, did they? Damn. Perez in shotgun back to his right. 2nd and 8, gonna play action, look to throw. Pressure coming, avoids it to his left, gonna buy some time and going to take it himself for a gain of a yard before sliding down. 3rd and 7 coming up. There's a Winnipeg Jet heading off now. Oh, it's collateral. That's unfortunate. That's a great hit by his teammate, but he hit the Blues player into him, and they made head-to-head contact. That's 3rd and 7 for the Renegades. Perez in shotgun back to his left. 3 receivers to the right. Play clock winding down. They did not get that snap off in time. Flags fly. Yeah, penalty markers down. They did not get that snap off. That's going to be false or delay of game, probably. They did not get that snap off in time. Yep, delay of game on Arlington. So a 3rd and 12 coming up now. Drive killers. You can't be getting into 3rd and longs against St. Louis. 10 penalties against. And like 5 or 6 of them are against the offensive line, with 4 of them being against one player. Crazy. Perez in shotgun back to his left. 3 receivers to the right. Ball on their own 32.5-yard line. Perez looking to throw, and there's a penalty marker down pre-snap. I swear if this is false. It's a false start against Arlington. Who could have fucking guessed? 3:16 to play. That is insane. Now 11 penalties against Arlington. A 3rd and 17 coming up. Drive killers. So many drive killers in this second half. Now backed up inside their own 30 at the 27.5-yard line. Perez in shotgun back to his left. 3 receivers to the right, looking for about the 45-yard line. Perez to throw. Has time, step into his right to buy more, launch one right side, and that's going to be caught by Deontay Burnett. Are they going to give him the first? Will depend on forward progress. They're going to say a first down for Arlington. They get about 18 there, picking up the first down. Somehow, the drive is not dead. Good throw from Perez. Oh yeah, ball doesn't touch the ground. Good job by Deontay Burnett to hang on to it. And forward progress is exactly the 45. And with 2 seconds left on the play clock, are they going to review this? We're gonna head to a commercial break with 2:12 to play in the third. Things are getting feisty between St. Louis and Winnipeg right now. Okay. Hey, Perez is the king of spring for a reason. Yeah, things are getting interesting between St. Louis and Winnipeg. Oh, for sure. I mean, maybe Teamu wouldn't have given up by now, but for sure you'll see, or at least for this drive, they would have given up on the drive for sure. Like, I don't think Kellen Mond or Jared Guantano was gonna do much. And speaking of that, they're starting Kevin Hogan on Sunday night. Kevin Hogan is starting for a UFL team. I guess they're hoping he has some similar magic to Dressel Wynn did for Memphis against Birmingham. There's 3 Winnipeg Jets players in that penalty box. I mean, like, we were talking about Trey Lance earlier. Like, San Antonio was a great example. San Antonio was a great example of, like, and Memphis, or like, guys would, like, they want someone of his potential, of his skill level and of his potential level. Because could you imagine the storyline behind Trey Lance goes to the UFL, makes a name for himself there, and gets his shot in the NFL, and becomes a decent starting quarterback? That's a great story that will definitely help the UFL. So they would love to have him in the league. So it's just like, Memphis is a good team. Houston, they found a guy in Jalen McClellan, it seems, which is another third string quarterback. Upon given the chance, is playing well, similar to Dresser Wynn. So who knows? Maybe Kevin Hogan will just be the guy over there in San Antonio. Which I'm also like 99% sure Kevin Hogan played for New England at one point. I could be wrong though. Let me check. Cleveland, Tennessee. Was he never on New England's practice squad? Tennessee, Houston's practice squad, Tennessee. He was on the Bengals in 2020. No. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, if things aren't working, try something new for sure. But I would have thought they would have given Guantano a start before going to Kevin Hogan, but I guess not. And first and 10, just coming back from commercial break. Present shotgun, play action looking to throw. Has time, a dump off right side to Day Hunter. Has plenty of room. First down and a whole lot more. Past the 30 and out of bounds at the 29. Day Hunter past midfield and still running afterwards. You can't be giving Day Hunter that much space to run. Again, good job by Perez. Just take the dump off when it's there. Day Hunter got that speed to make people pay. The ball now on the plus 29. Perez in shotgun. Play action looking to throw. Pass right side going to be incomplete. Looking for Deontay Burnett. They just show the yardage differences on this quarter. Arlington is up to 91 yards of offense this quarter compared to St. Louis's -9. So it has been definitely a more dominant quarter for Arlington. Nonetheless, they still find themselves down by 9 with a minute and a half to play in the quarter. Exactly. Perez in shotgun, looking to throw on 2nd and 10. Pass left side, caught by Day Hunter, and going to lose about a yard back to the 30. That's the reason why I'm shocked that Guarantano did not get a start. Or at least get a half in this upcoming game against Birmingham. Unless I know that like Danny, I'm constantly saying that Danny Edling should not be seen in the field despite his minimal chances he's getting in Michigan. I'm only saying that because that is a championship caliber team, and Bryce Perkins is playing near perfect football. There's no need to change hands there. San Antonio was a completely different situation. As Perez looks to throw on 3rd and 11, pressure coming and going to somehow gets rid of it to Day Hunter and going to pick up a yard. It works. Willie Harvey there on the tackle for St. Louis, but Day Hunter it's been his drive to have. There should have been a holding call against Arlington there. They're lucky there wasn't one. And now comes Lucas Haverzik to try and put Arlington on the board. But first, commercial break for the end of the 3rd quarter. 15 minutes to play. We shall see what Arlington has left in them. But St. Louis's offense has been sluggish in the 2nd half. So they're keeping Arlington in this. Haven't been able to step on their throats yet. We shall see though. Yeah, maybe he hasn't been doing well in practice. That's definitely a possibility. But at the same time, it's like I'm not opposed to them not going for Jared Guarantano. I did not like watching him play for Houston last year. But that's also like a personal thing where it's like the difference between like a personal thing like that, where like I don't want to see him on the field because I don't like watching him play, compared to not wanting to see him on the field because he has shown me he can play for this offense. But hey, we'll see again. It's a very similar situation to Memphis last week. You're traveling to Birmingham, you're starting your 3rd string quarterback just to see what they got. Maybe to have some magic with him and they go from there. But we'll see. That is the end cap to week 6. So we'll see. Yeah, Perez has never been the problem, no matter what team he's been on in the spring football leagues. I mean, it's just like finally with him being in Arlington recently, the past few years, he's found a system that matches his style. When he was with Orlando, it was not a good fit in the XFL. When he was with, I believe he played for the Las Vegas Vipers as well. It wasn't a good fit there either. Yeah. The other weird thing with the UFL is every team practices in the same place in Arlington. Like every team has their home stadiums in their respective cities, but their practices and everything during the week is all in Arlington. And that's one of the bigger issues of why attendance hasn't been the greatest, is because they're not embracing their home cities the same way they want the fans to embrace them. Maybe outside of St. Louis, and Birmingham, those who have really embraced their home cities on game days and during the week, it seems. But for other teams, like you need to get practice facilities in those cities as well. Which was just coming back from commercial break for the start of the 4th quarter. The 4th quarter will begin with a field goal try from Lucas Haverzik to make this a 6-point game. Third quarter was all Arlington. Havrizik missed from 44 earlier. This from 46. It is up, and it is right down the middle. So Arlington gets on the board to begin the fourth quarter. Now we get to see the St. Louis offense try to respond. Yeah, they need to be a part of that community a lot more. Which I understand, like, for financial reasons, if you can't do that. But then to counteract that, you need to go really heavy in marketing in those cities, and they're just not either. If you're not gonna have the players constantly be in those cities during the week, so that way you can have them have interactions with fans at like a Publix or a Ross or any of these other like traditional stores. If you're not gonna allow for those interactions with fans, you're not gonna build a proper fan base in that city. Yeah, you go to the local schools, the charities, which they do, but don't get me wrong, they do those things. As kickoff is going to be returned past the 20, not a great return on that kickoff. There is a penalty marker down though, so we'll see what that is. But they do those things. But the true interactions that get people interested in a team most of the time is the interactions during the day-to-day, where you see them on the street and they say hi to get a picture that way. The penalty was a block in the back against St. Louis, so they're going to be starting backed up on this drive. It has not been the best of games for Max Duggan, 5 for 16, about 80 yards and a touchdown, but St. Louis is on top nonetheless. As Duggan in shotgun, back to his left, two receivers to each side, ball on their own 10-yard line. Duggan going to keep it himself left side for what seems to be a design QB keeper that goes absolutely nowhere. A loss of 4. Ajeen Harris, one of the two Renegades met him in the backfield. Ajeen Harris, I'm like 99% sure he's the one who won the UFL Defensive Player of the Week last week. And he continues to be making plays here in this one. Yeah, it was him and Charlie Thomas in the backfield to force that loss of 4. Now Duggan in shotgun, back to his left, back up in their own 6-yard line. Going to keep it himself again left side. Gets the edge, and that's going to be a gain of roughly 9 up to the 15-yard line. To get the yardage back and then some, it's a 3rd and 5 for the Battlehawks. And that was nearly another disastrous play. What, that was Chris Odom who nearly met him in the backfield near the goal line. So a good job by Duggan to avoid him. Maybe that is a step, but I think it'll be a long while before they move local. Duggan looking to throw on 3rd and 5. Pressure coming and hit hard. Ball comes loose, and that's going to be kicked around. Chris Odom took a while to fall on it. Eventually, a renegade does fall on this. So that is, I believe, Jamal Summers who picks this up. He's down and slowly get up afterwards. But it seems like that's going to be a strip sack. And the Renegades will have ball well in the plus territory. I need to see this again. Chris Odom took a while to fall on that ball. Nearly a disastrous mistake. Yeah, I think that ball comes loose before the arm's going forward. This is going to be a fumble recovered by Arlington. And they'll have ball near the 10. That's the turnover this Arlington defense needed. That is the play that they needed. The offense now has a chance to get them back in this and to tie this game. Yeah, that's going to be a fumble. It's Taco Charlton meeting Duggan in the backfield and forcing it loose. The former Miami Dolphin, baby. The former Dallas Cowboy, the former Miami Dolphin, a former first-round pick. As Perez will throw this over the middle, and it's dropped. Perez throws it over the middle, and it should have been 6 going the other way. That should have been 6 going the other way. Perez, pressure got there. He threw and hit you in the chest. Nate Medors was thinking 6 before catching that. That should have been going the other way. Second and goal from the 10. Perez in shotgun back to his left. Handoff up the middle, and that's going to be a gain of roughly 2 for Devion Smith. If they had hands, they would be playing receiver. Man. It's now third and goal from the 8. If Arlington doesn't find the end zone here, if they don't find the end zone, this should have been going the other way. Talk about a momentum swing if that was picked off. Perez alone in shotgun. 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Ball on the 8-yard line. Perez, the throw. Pressure coming. Going to avoid 1 sack. Rolling to his right now. Throw in right side, and that's going to be incomplete. And Armor's going forward. Going to be an incomplete pass. Pita Tamu-Penu in the backfield. Alongside of, I believe, 1 or maybe 2 other Battlehawks. And it's a 3-and-out forced. This St. Louis defense, man, they saved a disaster scenario for St. Louis. And that's a great play by Tamu-Penu, man. There's a reason he's one of the best defensive players in the league. Initially blew past Perez and then worked his way back and forced the bad pass. And out comes Lucas Haverzik to make it a 3-point game. With 11:50 to play in the 4th. And as I was saying, Taco Charlton, former first-round pick, was signed by the Renegades before last week's game against DC. And he's been making plays as the 26-yard kick is up and good. Right, he was either signed before the game against DC or before the game against St. Louis 2 weeks ago. Either way, he's not been on the team long. And he's already made multiple high-impact plays in games, including that one, which makes it a 3-point game with 11:45 to play. As we head to a commercial break. The St. Louis offense going to need to do something here quick. Honestly, Arlington is lucky to get points out of that drive. Again, it should have been going the other way, first and goal. It hit him in the chest. That's a perfect pass to him. To Nate Medors. He needs to hang on to that. Without saying Devin has to name a great return specialist. I mean, Cordell Patterson's the obvious one, but yeah. The Brad commercial break here. That was a nice hit there by the Jets. Okay. Oh, there's this series is gonna get very interesting. Game 7 between the Blues and Jets. These teams are feisty right now with each other. Also, did Winnipeg not just score there? Would they call a penalty before he tipped it in? Oh, they did. Oh my. Winnipeg gets called for a trip in just before they were able to make it 5-3. Wow. Okay. Just coming back from commercial break here between the Renegades and the Battlehawks. This game has gotten very interesting since the start of the fourth quarter. 6 unanswered points so far for the Renegades. As we're about to send this one down after a 26-yard field goal by Lucas Haverzik. Time to see what this St. Louis offense can do. Kickoff will be returned beginning from the 10-yard line. Has some room, gets past the 30 to the 33. And Duggan and this offense will go from there. You just need points. If you're St. Louis, you're hoping for, you need a field goal. You want to make it so Arlington will need a touchdown to tie the game. And just put that trust in your defense to play bend, don't break. It's all you got to do. Duggan and shotgun, going to hand this off up the middle. And that's a gain of roughly 4, maybe 5 there for Jalen Sailors. As there's some pushing and shoving going post play. Yeah, ruling a gain of 4. Okay. So yeah, if Winnipeg wins tonight, second round begins Sunday for the NHL. 2nd and 6. Duggan gonna keep it himself left side for a design QB keeper that loses a yard. I don't. What do you mean by that Jackson guy? You talking about Blake Jackson for St. Louis, or are you talking about the St. Louis Winnipeg game? It's 3rd and 7 for St. Louis. Duggan and shotgun back to his right. 2 receiving options to each side. Duggan looking to throw. Arlington sends pressure. Pass left side caught and breaks a tackle as Blake Jackson for a gain of 9. Speaking of the devil, gets up to the 45-yard line and keeps the chains moving. Well, there's your answer and who that Jackson guy is. Blake Jackson making a play there. Breaks 1 tackle that was much needed. If he would be able to stay on his feet a bit more after that, that's a massive play. But he breaks the tackle enough to get the first down. That's the key thing. That's the first down of this half for St. Louis. As Duggan in shotgun back to his right. We receive an option to the left. Going to hand this off up the middle for Jacob Sailors. Going to get past midfield to about the 47. A gain of 8. I want to point out, this is like the 6th power play that the Blues have had tonight. And they have scored on none of them. And they're still up by 3. And now St. Louis can really play the clock. It's 2nd and 3, 9:12 to play in the game. Duggan in shotgun back to his right. 3 receiving options to the left. They're going to rule ball on the 48-yard line. As Duggan, quick throw right side, is caught for the first down by Denzel Mims. Going to be a gain of roughly 6 there. That is true. Dallas did do that last night, which forced Game 7. I can't believe that's how Dallas did not win that series. Okay, can you have 4 and 4 here between St. Louis and Winnipeg? Okay, 8.5 to play in the game. 1st and 10 from the 43-yard line, and St. Louis will call a timeout as they weren't going to get that snap off in time. 8:24 to play. 1 timeout remains for St. Louis. They better hope. We're already going to call a timeout, but they're going to hope that they don't. They're going to hope that they don't need those timeouts late in this game. Arlington has 2 remaining, and they're going to need those most likely. I'm just happy that I get to wait till Tuesday before the Panthers and Leafs series begins, because that's not going to be too fun of a series to watch. I say that because for as much as Toronto is like the Cowboys of the NHL, they are still a pretty solid team if they get everything clicking. So it's gonna be a tough matchup nonetheless for Florida, and the fact that they start on the road is not great. Duggan in shotgun back to his right, two receiving options to each side. Gonna toss this right side for Jacob Sailors. Gonna get the sideline and going to step out of bounds near the 40, a gain of 3, as his clock continues to run a bit. Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch 2 games in that series almost. Okay. 2nd and 7, 8 minutes to play in the game. Duggan in shotgun back to his right, 3 receiving options to the left. Gonna motion the tight end into the backfield to his left. As Duggan will hand this off to Sailors up the middle, breaks 1 tackle and going to fight his way for a gain of 6, past the 35 to about the 34. And it is a third and 1 here for St. Louis. They're able to kill a lot of clock on this drive. And now they have entered field goal range. 7.5 to play in the game. Looking to end this one, potentially on this drive. So 3rd and 1, Duggan in shotgun, back to his right. 2 receiving options to each side. Duggan will hand this off to Sailors up the middle, and that goes nowhere. A loss of a yard. And that's Miles Dorn coming in from the free safety spot to make the play in the backfield, a loss of a yard. And out comes Rodrigo Blankenship, I assume. Under 7 minutes to play in this one. A chance to make it back to a 6-point St. Louis lead. Oh, did someone get hit with the puck in the stands? Damn. Alright. Here comes Rodrigo Blankenship. Another long kick for him. This one going to be from 53 yards out and the left hash. Kick is up. And it is good. Rodrigo Blankenship remains perfect on the season. And it is a 6-point St. Louis lead with about 7 minutes to play in this one. Rodrigo Blankenship, man. Actually, 6:23 to play in the game. 6-point St. Louis lead. Rodrigo Blankenship, man, playing damn well. Yeah, I mean, again, there's a reason St. Louis was the last team in out west in the NHL. But I mean, the fact that y'all have made this a solid series. Typically with President's Trophies winners, they don't get bounced in the first round often. I mean, last time it did happen was because of the Florida Panthers, but that's besides the story. But like, Winnipeg is still a really damn good team, and y'all are making them fight for this, and it's fantastic to watch. I wish that was the case. That would have been fun. That would be funny, but yeah. No, the NIL is in such a weird spot right now. We're getting to a point with NIL where something is gonna need to happen, and something is going to happen sooner rather than later to make it more. I wouldn't say streamlined, but to make it make more sense. Yeah, Blankenship, man. Perfect. 14 for 14 on the season. Like, he probably does have eyes on him for the NFL at this point. Kentucky Athletics with LLC, really? Okay. Yeah, I mean, like, the main issue is states. I wouldn't say states like Kentucky, but it's the states that have like a massive presence of college sports. Like, really, the SEC and the Big Ten. It's those guys' fault why shit's messed up. Yep. Yeah. He has his specs on the NFL. Other NFL teams have their eyes on him for sure. I mean, if you're able to be this consistent of a kicker, you're gonna get at least a training camp invite. And plus, again, his leg has definitely increased since his time in the NFL. I think his NFL long was like 52. His long in the UFL is 56. As kickoff underway, going to be returned from inside the 10, and as Day Hunter getting up to about the 28. Oh yeah, again, I saw the other day that Texas is spending close to $40 million in NIL for their team this year, which I should have looked this up sooner, but that's an insane money. And then let's see, let's look at MLB payrolls real quick. 40 million. Okay, it's still less than other MLB teams. It's still less than MLB teams, but it is damn close to the Marlins and the Athletics payroll, which is crazy. Perez in shotgun back to his right, two receiving options to each side, handoff up the middle for Day Hunter. Gonna bounce it out right side on 1st and 10 and going to pick up about 6 on the carry. Yeah, it's like Texas is going in. Like it's crazy. Like they're rivaling. It's something to say for both how insane NIL has gotten and how bad MLB is at this cap situation. That we see Texas and the Marlins having similar payrolls for their players. 2nd and 4, Perez in shotgun back behind him. Going to hand this off up the middle for Hunter once again. Finds a lane for a first down and more. Getting brought down at midfield, but still picks up a first down. Hold on. Well, yeah, 15 to 25 is a lot, but I'm not too surprised by that. I feel like 15 should be the limit, maybe 20. But 40 million in college football payroll is crazy. And also, only about 65 million in MLB payroll is crazy. Like the MLB needs a cap floor, college football needs a cap ceiling. Perez throw over the middle, caught by Javonte Payton on 1st and 10. The first down to hold on more, but fumble it. It's fumbled and St. Louis falls on it. The St. Louis defense, Nick Whiteside, making a great play. We'll see if they rule him down by contact, which I think initially they are. But it seems like there's going to be a fumble by Javonte Payton and picked up by St. Louis. If it is a fumble, it is 100% St. Louis ball. They're going to say, no, they're saying St. Louis football. Nick Whiteside making a big time play late in this game. That's definitely a fumble. Quinterio Cole laid the hit to force it loose. Nick Whiteside is the one who recovered it. And that's a big time play by the St. Louis defense. Now 1st and 10 with 4:51 to play. And we're going to have a timeout called by Arlington. If St. Louis a field goal by St. Louis is still a one possession game. The bigger question is how much time can they kill on this clock? But that was a great throw by Perez. Javonte Payton, he beats Whiteside at the line and gets wide open on that slant route. Just have to be able to hang on to the football, but Quinterio Coleman, he lays a nice hit to force that loose. Man, there's still time. Oh yeah, definitely the other sports are going to get affected by NIL spending. A handoff right side for Jacob Sailors is going to break a few tackles and pick up about 4 here. But he was met by like 3 or 4 different Renegades at the line of scrimmage. Like every of the FBS and high FCS level schools are gonna put NIL money into football first, and then we're gonna see a divide. Like a a school like Florida and Alabama and like a North Carolina and UConn would put the rest of their NIL to basketball, but then like a Vandy, LSU, FSU will pick baseball. Exactly. Handoff up the middle on 2nd and 7 is going to be a gain of roughly 4 once again for Jacob Sailors, as there's 4 minutes left in this game. Yes, there's still time for Arlington to get more penalties, definitely. Like again, if it's a 3rd and 3 right now. If Arlington's defense can force a 3 and out, there's still plenty of time for Luis Perez. We'll just see what their defense can do here. It's a big 3rd and 3. Perez in shotgun back to his left, sending receiver in motion right to left as Duggan will look to throw. Pass right side, tipped and incomplete. Donald Payne, a big time play in the backfield. Trying to hit Sailors on the wheel, but trying to hit Sailors on that wheel, had space, would have been a first down and more, but Donald Payne gets a hand on that ball. That's a great play by Donald Payne, and Arlington is still very much in this. Yeah. It would be football first name. Bob, I know you like LSU's basketball program, and they'll still probably get NIL money, but it's baseball second for LSU. It's football first, baseball second. Basketball is a very close third. All right, heading to a commercial break. 2:53 to play in this one. It's a 6-point game. Plenty of time for Arlington. Yeah, for men, obviously. That's what's like, because the initial comment was for 2 men's sports is teams are gonna have to make a decision for, or schools have to make a decision to put NIL funded into. And obviously, some schools like an LSU and Bama would probably be able to pick 3 or 4 plus some women's sports. But like, I'll go as far as to say this. If it gets to a point where schools need to pick only 2 men's sports, we're going to see a lot of the Big Ten, or at least half of the Big Ten, pick hockey over basketball and baseball. Like, I am confident in saying a school like Minnesota would pick football and hockey over football and a combination of either basketball or baseball. Because Minnesota's hockey program is a damn good program. Same goes for most of the schools in Michigan, mainly like the directional schools in Michigan. Central Michigan, Eastern Michigan, and Western Michigan. I could see them picking hockey over a basketball or a baseball. Oh yeah, we're gonna. It's a different era in Bama football. Definitely, it's not the same Saban style anymore. And it didn't look great in DeBoer's first year, but I think as he gets more of his guys into the program, it will look just fine, and they'll be cool with it. Yeah, but that's the like outside of that very specific. Outside of Shaq, who else does LSU have in the NBA today? That is a legit starter and gets legit minutes. As we're just coming back from commercial break, 2:53 to play in this one. But I'm asking that both as a genuinely curious thing, because I'm not good at remembering schools that guys go to, and also kind of as a joking manner as well, of just like LSU does not produce stuff. But also Pistol Pete, yeah. But like besides those two. Gonna hand this off up the middle for Day Hunter. Bounces off one defender, then brought down for a gain of roughly 6. First play of the drive. Also, I forgot Pistol Pete existed. But again, in the modern NBA, who does LSU have in the league that gets legit minutes? Yeah, exactly. And you don't typically produce NBA talent, but you produce a lot of MLB talent. Handoff right side to Day Hunter in 2nd and 4 is going to be a gain of 5, enough for a first down, and that might bring us to the 2-minute warning. Arlington down by 6, looking to at least tie this game on this drive. But again, this is going to be their last chance with 1 timeout remaining and 2 minutes to play. As that's a 2-minute warning. Going to head to a commercial break here. Yeah, that's exactly. LSU women's basketball program is not going anywhere anytime soon. And neither is their basketball program. This is all just a hypothetical. Like SEC schools and Big Ten schools are not ever going to be forced to choose between any of their sports programs. This is more so hypothetical. This is more so like a legit fear for like Group of 5 FCS and below. But it's just fun to think about, like if a big name school had to pick 2 men's sports. I would put the ACC in that boat, mainly just because the ACC is looking very likely that it might just not exist anymore, and less because the schools in the ACC are going to be desperate for money. Because like, if needed, a Miami, an FSU, a North Carolina, and a Clemson could always jump ship to a different conference. The only schools I could legit see going down with the ACC ship is like Louisville and Syracuse. Yeah, and that's just the nature of things. Like, unless NIL gets figured out, we are heading to an area where it's like, into an era where it's like, if you're not a consistent competitor as a school, you're not gonna have long-term success. Like, it's gonna be very hard to build schools from the ground up again, and very hard to have Cinderella runs like we saw with TCU, mainly like we saw with Boise State in the late 2000s. Like, we're probably not gonna see much of that again. As St. Louis has officially, as the St. Louis Blues have officially forced a Game 7. That'll be on Sunday. All right, back from a commercial break for the 2-minute warning. Perez in shotgun, 3 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. Ball on their own 39, will look to throw. And a step up, and he fumbles now, and that's picked up by St. Louis. Hida Tamupenu forces it loose, and St. Louis falls on it. And that should just about do it in this one. The St. Louis defense, back-to-back drives, forcing fumbles. And there is so much that can be summed up with the poor play of Arlington. With the poor play of Arlington in this game. But I don't think anything better does it than that play. That's a beautiful play by Tamu Pandu, man. Beautiful play by him. And Chris Garrett falls on it. And the Battlehawks got their revenge on Arlington from earlier on in the season. They've destroyed that turnover battle. As Duggan is going to hand this off up the middle for Jacob Sailors, and he's going to get past the 35. Pyle still being pushed. He's still going. That's a first down carry for Jacob Sailors. What a job by the offensive line to keep him going forward. That's a gain of 11. He was met like 5 yards into that carry, but still pushed forward for an extra 6. Yeah, they can't hold on to the ball for much tonight. Again, The good thing for Arlington is, not really a good thing. They play Michigan next week. But the tough thing for Arlington next week is their final home game of the season. They play Michigan at home next week, then they're on the road for the final 3 weeks of the season, as they call their final timeout. Meanwhile, St. Louis is going to be traveling to Memphis next week before hosting Birmingham. And then the final 2 weeks of the season is going to be road games for St. Louis, including a matchup against DC. That's going to have a lot of implications on the line by that point. But yeah, this was an interesting. I'm not too surprised by the outcome of this. And as the knee downs begin, there's the first one. Going to need a few more out of Max Duggan. I'm not too surprised. I picked St. Louis to win in predictions this week. And at the beginning of the stream, and really at the end of the first quarter, I was saying this could be a 9-6 game. This could be a 9-10 type game. The final score is 12-6. So not too bad. But that's a very tough loss for Arlington. So St. Louis will move to 4-2 on the season, claiming that second spot in the XFL conference. They'll wait for the outcome of DC and Michigan later this week to see if they will be tied for first. But as they sit, they will be in second place. Arlington is going to need some help now. In order to get back into the playoff picture. But they sit at 3-3. What is still a much better season by this point of the season than what it was last year for them. But still, I mean, their losses this season have all been some pretty tough losses. I mean, again, you lose because of a false start being added against Birmingham. You lose last week to DC due to a second half implosion. You lose this week because of turnovers and penalties. Just a really, really bad game for Arlington, and they're going to look to bounce back from against a very tough Michigan team next week. But that'll do it. There's the final knee down. Thank you all for tuning in. Again, this was a solid game. First game all in this new setup. It's not in this new setup for, again, this will be the setup for the rest of the season. And when we get to the NFL season, I'll be back in the one you saw before. Because yeah, I'm back. It's a summer for me now. Finish another semester, so I'm here. But yeah, I'll be back tomorrow, noon EST, for what should be another pretty damn good game, as it is Houston and Memphis tomorrow at noon. Houston and Memphis, that should be a pretty good game. Right, it's Houston and Memphis tomorrow at noon. It's either that or it's DC, Michigan. Either way, those are gonna be some good games. Just double check here. Yeah, it's Memphis and Houston tomorrow at noon EST. I'll be live for that one as well. And it was a pretty solid one. And yep, I'll see you all tomorrow. Have yourselves a damn good one. Peace.